Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am Plant-Based Gabriel, and this is Plant-Based Bridget in her warm winter jammies. Of course, we're still in our drizzly cold springtime. But today, this morning, we wanted to make for you one of our favorite breakfast bar recipes. This is our cinnamon apple oat breakfast bars. Super simple recipe, really tasty, and one that hopefully you will enjoy as much as we do. Hey everyone, before we move on to the recipe, I want to remind you that you can get these awesome t-shirts like the heirloom tomato t-shirt that I'm wearing in men's and women's and even in children's sizes at plantbasedgabriel.com/shop. I'll leave the link for you in this recipe post, in the YouTube video, on Facebook, anywhere that you'd like to check it out. The shirts are super comfy, and we created them because they're shirts that we would like to wear. So you can check those out at plantbasedgabriel.com. Now back to the recipe. To get started with our breakfast bars, we're going to do our dry ingredients first. And I was already starting to make this, and then I said, well, Bridget, we need to do a recipe video. So in this bowl, I have 1 cup of rolled oats, 1 cup of oat flour or any other gluten-free flour or any other wheat-based flour, but I like to use oat flour. And we have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon as well as 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I will leave those all in the recipe at plantbasedgabriel.com. Bless you. Bless you. Mwah! Bless you. So you won't have to guess on that. That will be there. And we're going to add to those dry ingredients a 1/4 cup of raisins. If you do not like raisins, you can omit the raisins. Or you can use any other dried fruit if you'd like. But make sure that when you look on the back of the ingredients, it does not have any oil. They sneak oil into dried fruit all the time. It's a travesty. It should not happen anymore, but it does happen, so be cautious of that. There's a 1/4 cup of raisins. So there's our dry ingredients, and we are just going to give it a little bit of a stir. Just try to, the big thing is the baking soda in there. We don't want a big clump of that to end up in our, in the bars, because that can be pretty unpleasant. But the solution to pollution is dilution. Not that baking soda is polluting, but you definitely want it to dilute so that you get that nice rise that is created by mixing it with apple cider vinegar, but you want that to happen all over the baking sheet. And so there's all of our dry ingredients. Now for our wet or moist ingredients. Hey, the oven's ready. Now's a good time to preheat your oven to 385 Fahrenheit if you're making these along with us. We're going to use a 1/2 cup of applesauce. I'm using an organic cinnamon applesauce that's unsweetened. If you're using a sweetened applesauce, which, hey, if that's what you got, it's what you got, then you're going to want to lessen or omit the maple syrup that we're going to use. But this is an unsweetened cinnamon applesauce. And a 1/2 cup of that right there. And I'm very exact with that, so make sure that you're extremely exact as I am. We're going to add we're going to add 1 to 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, depending on how sweet you like it. And obviously, if 3 is not enough, then by all means add more maple syrup. Or if 1 is too much, then use half. Do what you like there. We're going to add a cup of water. And lastly, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. This is organic raw ACV. And as soon as you put it in there, you'll notice it's starting to react. But now we're going to mix it, Bridget. Make sure you get all that at the bottom. And it's going to be a nice batter consistency, and hopefully you can see that. It does become a nice batter. And that's what we're aiming for, because that's how we're going to bake it. Almost like a little cake. Did you want to give it a stir? Did you want to stir? Oh, you want to put your fingers in there. I know you do. All right, now we've got a baking sheet. This is a baking sheet, and I've got some parchment paper on top. And hey, if you don't know this, reuse your parchment paper once or twice. I baked some sweet potatoes earlier, so I flip it over and use the other side to make our breakfast bars. It smells really, really good so far. I wouldn't eat it at this point, but it does smell good. And we're just going to add it on there nice and evenly. And make sure we get all of it out. Let's move this to the center here, Bridgie. Right. Then just kind of make sure it gets into all those corners. Obviously, if you're using a smaller baking sheet, it's going to be thicker. If you're using a bigger baking sheet than this, it's going to be thinner. We aim so that it is about a ½ inch when baked. You can play around with that, see what you like. The thicker, obviously, the moister it's going to be at the end. The thinner, it will dry out much quicker. So your cooking time may change. So we just kind of move it around a little bit. And now this is going to go in the oven at 385 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, pop it out, set it on the countertop, let it cool for a few minutes. And at that point, we will be back to talk about how we like our cinnamon raisin apple oat breakfast bars. We're gonna put these in the oven. And we will be back. Don't forget about the t-shirts. Heirloom tomatoes, you know you love them. Sorry for this interruption, but the bars aren't ready, but it is music time. Bridgie staring off to the distance. Here, I'll cut your cords. Bridgie Rose, everybody! We're back. As you can tell, our apple cinnamon raisin breakfast bars are done, and Bridget is extremely impatient right now. She looks at them, she knows she loves them, but she couldn't have them while they were cooling. Such is life, Bridget Rose, such is life. All right, so this is how we do it. When you pull them out of the oven, I like to pull them off the baking sheet and let them cool off of that so that it kind of cools down more quickly. But you see here, we've got the parchment paper. Once you kind of are able to just kind of pull it from the sides, you know it's ready. And then here is the big trick, the flipperoo. And then it's a whole lot easier to pull that off when your bake is whole than cutting it and doing that, because you just saw how easy I was able to just flip it. One-handed, holding a baby with an heirloom tomato shirt on. Come on, guys. All right, pizza cutter. Obviously, a must when doing this. No, you could use a knife, but the pizza cutter is nice. I like to go, because me and Dr. Miller split. We split a whole bake, which it's becoming less and less of a split because Dr. Miller gets half, and then me and Bridget split our half, so I might wither away to nothing when this happens. All right, or I can always double a recipe, but who knows? All right, and then we go down the middle again, and then once more here, and once more there. Set this to the side, and you have your apple cinnamon raisin oat breakfast bars ready. Look at that, everyone. A beautiful consistency there. Nice, light and fluffy. The baking soda and the apple cider vinegar create a nice reaction. You want some, I know. And the applesauce keeps it nice and moist. I'm gonna go ahead. Hey, would you like a bite? We let it sit for a little bit, but she was being very impatient, so we had to, that 10-minute wait time turned into about 6 minutes. So here we go. You ready? You want some? What do you think? What do you think there, boss? I think you're thinking about having more. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a bite. Fantastic. Nice and light, fluffy, but not so fluffy that it just kind of like crumbles apart. It does hold shape very well. And then nice and moist from the applesauce. It's a really tasty recipe, everyone. We really, really hope you give it a try. Bridget, do you want some more? And it's, of course, Bridget approved, so you should check it out. The whole recipe will be at plantbasedgabriel.com. It'll be linked in the YouTube video. It'll be linked in the Facebook video. It'll be linked, the videos will be linked on the Plant-Based Gabriel recipe on the site. You can check it out there. And again, you don't just have to, we have tons and tons of different garden fruits and vegetables. Zucchini, we've got rhubarb, we've got bok choy, we've got celery, tomatoes, lettuce, peppers, everything you could think of that's in the garden, you can check them out. And we also have our Plant Power shirts, our Eat More Dirt shirts, but you can all check those out at plantbasedgabriel.com. That really helps support us. And it's not like you're just, oh, here's some support. These are awesome t-shirts. High quality material, very comfortable. What we really like is they're nice and long. So they're not super long like a dress, but they're long enough that, you know, they're not gonna ride up on your belly. And so that's one reason we really, really like them. So you can check them out at plantbasedgabriel.com. Please like this video if you like it. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Share the video if you want other people to try this recipe. And as always, we love you. If you haven't heard already, we really do love you. We're so glad that you're a part of our family. And we will be eating these breakfast bars this morning here. We hope you do too. All right, everyone, we love you. We'll see you in another video soon. Bridget, you want to say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. 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 Bye. We'll see you guys in another video.